They're trying to destroy the old industrial monetary system, but if you know the game the next year from 2023 to 2024, it could shift your family's timeline. It's time to get ready for the biggest shift in generational wealth in history.
I ain't gonna give in now, I just gotta live this now. I ain't gonna be when I'ma kill this stuff real quick. I'ma go take it to town, cause I gotta be that king in their ring when I'm knocking them out. When I'm back with the win, cause I am just up on the journey. Know that I'm just going insane.
Warriors, rise. Grand rising. Good evening, warriors all over the world. From my family's heart to yours, I want to say I love you guys so much. I want to share with you that it's going to be okay. If you know the game, this could be the biggest transformation for your family in human history. What I want to tell you is there is no get rich quick. It does not exist. The truth is, most people are going to get wrecked in the speculative asset crypto going from 2024 to 2025. Remember, JP Morgan said, billionaires use astrology, millionaires use charts. You have to be non-emotional. There is no get rich quick. You have to learn in the next year to become an intelligent investor. You have to reconnect your heart and mind. You have to understand what is important. You should be creating family structure right now, because if you don't understand what's happening, this is going to be the biggest shift in transformational wealth in our history. The middle class is moving down to the working poor, and there's going to be extremely wealthy. The billionaires are going to become trillionaires. The millionaires are going to become billionaires, and being a millionaire is going to mean nothing. People are going to need assistance, and a UBI is going to be coming in. So I'm going to show you the facts, figures, numbers, logic. I'm not a financial advisor. None of this is financial advice. But I'm going to show you at the end of this video, if you choose to watch all the way through, how we've helped over 6,000 warriors navigate mentally, physically since 2020 through these hard times. Think about that just a moment. What will you be, or where will you be? What will you be, and where will your family be in the next 10 years? What will your kids, your grandkids' kids say to you? What did you do during the biggest transformation in wealth? And that's exactly why I do my content, how I do my content. I'm documenting my journey to show my grandkids and my kids' kids what I did during the biggest transformation in wealth, gained freedom, peace, and family structure. All right, so let's dive right into it. So there's so much going on right now. So the IMF, there's a GDP forecast going on. There's just so many meetings going on around the banking system. Now, if you pay attention, you're always paying for your attention, is the verbiage is the same at every single meeting. The verbiage is the same. Okay. So IMF cuts GDP forecast, says global economy is heading for the weakest growth since 1990. Obviously, right? But you're going to hear from our head Treasury Secretary, everything's good to go. Everything's fine. Biden says the job markets are good. Kamala Harris says we're growing. Everything is fantastic. Everything is not fantastic, guys. Everything is not okay. We're at 130% debt to income ratio. 33% of our debt is held outside the United States. The top two holders are Japan and China. There's something weird going on with Biden and China. I don't know. But all I know is there's some sort of transfer of wealth. There is some sort of dollar dominance changing right now. There's a reason why they're jacking up the dollar. The wealthy people are moving their money back and forth. This is all behind the scenes happening, warriors. The dollar is losing its dominance. The dollar is not going to be the dominant currency in the next 10 years, in my opinion, okay? So the IMF said that in 5 years from now, the global growth is expected to be around 3%, the lowest medium-term forecast in the world economic output for 30 years. Well, obviously, they printed trillions of dollars the last 24 months. Since 2008, when Obama put in his rescue plan in 2012. We've had low interest rate environment. Money was really cheap, and they freaking just jacked up interest rate. They jacked up interest rates, guys, because they knew they were ready for this monetary shift. So what I do is I pay attention very closely to what they're saying. This is an interview with JP Morgan, Jamie Dimon, JP Morgan Chase CEO. He says there are storm clouds ahead for the economy. So listen to their verbiage, Watch how they respond, and let's try to decipher what they're trying to say. So we're going to watch Jamie Dimon. We're going to watch a couple clips from Janet Yellen, and we're going to show you what the Bank of England is doing right now. Buckle up.
Just read your annual letter that just came out this week, and let's dive into the banking crisis because you write a lot about it. Is the current banking crisis over?
This is not 2008. Okay, this is much more limited. There are only a handful of banks that had this particular problem. They'll eventually be resolved one way or another. And I think then people should take a deep breath.
Okay, so that was key to decipher. There was this is where how my brain works, my logical circuit. There was a few banks in certain sectors that had a problem. Is it ironic that Silicon Valley Bank, one of the heaviest crypto banks, the heaviest innovation bank, was the one to go under? Is that weird? Is that weird that and then the tweet went out and 160 billion was liquidated overnight, proving the system was messed up and allowing them to change the rules, and the Fed stepped in now and was able to bail them out. Not only did they do a bail-in, but they did an equity injection. Okay, guys, this is so planned out. It's unbelievable. Jamie Dimon, she's going to bring it up right here. Jamie Dimon is spearheading a fund to help the smaller banks. This happened in 1929. There was 8,000 banks under the Federal Reserve. 16,000 were outside the Federal Reserve. So like, we need to get these people underneath us, man. What's going on? So they crush the banks. The 16,000 can't survive. So they inject equity into the 8,000 banks, and they tell them to go lend out to the smaller banks to survive. The exact same thing is happening during a transition right now.
In a week or two, a lot of these banks can be reporting earnings. I think they'll probably be pretty good. The Federal Reserve made some, bold, dramatic moves to help it easier for some of the issues they had. And I'm hoping it will resolve, rather shortly.
You're hoping.
But hope.
So remember, hope's not a strategy, but he said, okay, the banks are going to report their numbers in a couple weeks. So we're going to pay attention to that, right? But Forbes magazine rated SVB Bank, Silicon Valley Bank, in the top 20 a month before they collapsed. Are you going to believe the numbers? She said, hopefully, like what? She said, but hope is not a strategy.
Yeah.
But is the crisis over? You wrote in your letter, there will be repercussions for years to come.
Well, that's different. I think those repercussions are regulatory. I acknowledge, obviously when you have a problem, things need to change. But, I'm begging the regulators, just take a deep breath. There are hundreds of rules. You have to be very careful. What do you want in the banking system? What do you want out? How do you make it?
He just told you right there, the Ripple case right there. Take a deep breath. You got plenty of rules. What do you want in the banking system? And what do you want out of the banking system? I've been telling you the Ripple SEC case was totally planned out. Jay Clayton initiated the case against Ripple in 2020. He now sits on the board of the FDIC bail-in committee. The bail-in committee. You can't make this shit up. You can't connect the dots any better. This is wild what's happening.
Make it easier for community banks and regional banks. How do you reduce their costs, not increase their costs? But also,
how do you reduce their costs? Real-time payments, on-demand liquidity.
Make it safe.
Do you expect more banks to fail this year?
I don't know, but if there are, honestly, they'll be resolved and it'll probably be the last of them.
I don't know. They'll probably be resolved. That means yes. And that means the feds are going to bail them out. That means these big guys are going to monopolize them. They're ready for this, guys. They're planning this out.
I think we're getting near the end of this particular crisis and fewer financial institutions. Remember in 2008, it was hundreds of institutions around the world. Far too much leverage. We don't have that. Huge problems in mortgage markets. We don't have that. This is nothing like that. And the American public shouldn't think that. This will resolve. And then we should go look at what went wrong and fix it.
Okay. So you need a shock to the system to change consumer behaviors. In 2008, who let all these people do no income stated loans? So they shook out a bunch of people out of the banking sector in 2008. They knew this transition was coming. This isn't just planned in 24 months, guys. 2012, they start the bail-in plans for the banks. The bail-in committee has met biannually and banks have submitted their bail-in plans biannually since 2012. Okay. Then we have a bunch of venture capitalists putting money into cryptocurrency and all these, new ventures out there. And so what they do is they get them over leveraged once again, and then they pull the plug, show there's a systematic problem. It allows them, the shock to the system allows them to change the rules, to change consumer behaviors and banking laws in order to move us into the new system.
in the clean, in the light of day.
Well, so then what was it? If this is coming to an end, is this a situation like, Warren Buffett famously said, only when the tide goes out do you learn who's been swimming naked? Were these banks swimming naked?
Okay, so this is important what she's about to talk about. Warren Buffett says when the tide goes out, you're going to see who's not running their business properly, right? She's saying, is this one of those things? Listen to his response.
So I said there's hiding in plain sight. Everyone knew about uninsured deposits. Everyone knew about interest rate exposure. Everyone knew about held to maturity portfolios.
He just told us it's hidden in plain sight. Everybody knew about this. They all knew about it. He just said it. It was hidden in plain sight. They all knew about it. Okay. They knew that a lot of these banks have so many 10-year treasury bonds because the government needed money. So they're giving high yields on it or decent yields, right? The money was really cheap. So the cost, opportunity cost money sitting in your bank account made no sense. So they took our money, they put it into bonds. And when they raised the interest rate, they knew this was coming. They knew if they raised interest rates, it was going to suck the liquidity out of banks and companies.
The only real difference was we called concentrated clients. So Silicon Valley Bank had, a handful of people who controlled 35,000 corporate accounts, and they just left, $140 billion or something over a course of 2 days. That's not happening to other regional banks.
Well,
they don't have that issue, nor do they have all these other issues. So it's only a handful that much offsides.
But then what's going on with First Republic? I mean, you led.
This is so important. So he's like blaming it on the fact that it was, as a crypto bank, a venture capitalist bank, all this new innovative technologies. It was in a small sector. Well, what sectors they keep destroying? 2022, stablecoin collapse. Celsius collapse, FTX collapse, Silicon Valley Bank collapse. Look at this sector. It's all messed up. We need regulation. It's about problem, reaction, solution, changing the rules. First you resist it, then you sue it, then you regulate it. And now we're heading from regulation to joining phase. And this is the opportunity that most people are going to miss. From 2023 to 2024 is your job to accumulate the proper real world assets that are going to be here. Have an exit plan. And if you do it right and you understand the 5 pillars of wealth that I focus on, it could change your family's life.
The effort to swoop in $30 billion from you and your fellow banks to try to steady First Republic. Yeah. And you've acknowledged we don't even know yet if that worked. She
just called him out. She said, what are you swooping in? He spearheaded it with $30 billion, basically swooping them up underneath the system.
Yeah, so that was an attempt to try to help give them time to resolve a situation. We represent them, so I really can't talk about any more than that. And we hope it resolves one way or another. So that'll come in the future, but I don't.
Okay, so we hope it resolves. They swooped in. They gave $30 billion. It's a big monopoly happening right now. Okay, so let's dive into the press conference with Secretary Janet Yellen. It was ahead of the 2023 IMF World Bank spring meeting. I watched it. It wasn't that interesting. Nothing too life changing or anything in there. But let's listen to her words.
Week. Here at home, the U.S. banking system.
Okay, this is interesting. So he's telling us, the banking system, we're up to headwinds. Janet Yellen, Biden, Kamala Harris are going to tell you everything's good to go. You're good to go, public. Just keep doing what you're doing.
System remains sound with strong capital and liquidity positions. The global financial system also remains resilient due to the significant reforms that nations took after the financial crisis. We're committed to continuing this work through bodies like the Financial Stability Board and the Basel Committee on Banking Supervision. Financial regulators across the world are finalizing the implementation of Basel III.
Okay, so in 2020, the Basel III rules changed. That's the banking rules where banks had to have gold on reserves to have riskier assets, tier 1 assets. So there's a reason why central banks and banks are stacking gold. I believe we're moving to some sort of asset-backed currency.
And addressing vulnerabilities in non-bank financial intermediation. We're also focused on monitoring and adapting our regulatory frameworks to risks posed by digital assets and the changing climate.
So basically, it's the Ripple case, man. I'm telling you guys, we're watching a transition of industrial to technical. We're watching them changing the rules behind the scenes. We're just little puppets watching this, and it's like everybody's trying to, everybody's going off on each other on Twitter and this and that. It's like, guys, none of us know. None of us know. We're making our best educated guess. I'm just decoding what they're saying and trying to make good, solid decisions based on real world sound companies that are going to be here in the future.
Second, debt overhang remains a significant economic headwind for too many countries. I saw this firsthand in Zambia.
Okay, so she goes to all the countries that are struggling. Talk about our country that's struggling. What about our debt to income ratio? Okay, so they talk about so they say the banking system's sound. The banking system is us, guys. We are the liquidity in the banking system. We're the liquidity. If we don't have jobs in Q3 and Q4, because companies cannot keep going because money is not cheap anymore, they can't lend their way out of problems anymore, then how the hell are you going to have liquidity in your banks? We are the liquidity. Is there a reason why they changed the fractional reserve banking rules in 2020? Well, you were looking this way to pandemic. They need to keep 0% of your money in your transaction account. 0% of your money. But we don't have a liquidity crisis, then why can't you keep 10%? Okay, let's listen to another key factor.
Six months.
Okay, let me switch that real quick. Hold on. I missed one.
Transition for the World Bank. 6 months ago, I issued an urgent call for an evolution of the multilateral development bank system.
So she said we're in a transition for the World Bank. She issued a call for the multilateral banking system, a transition. She says we're in a transition for the banking system.
In the 21st century, sustained progress on poverty alleviation and shared prosperity requires building resilience against the global challenges that face us all. These include climate change, pandemics, and fragility and conflict.
Remember, you need a shock to the system to change consumer behavior. She just told us we're in a transition for the financial monetary system.
I'm encouraged by the progress that we've made with a growing coalition of shareholders since my call to action last fall. We're refreshing the World Bank's mission. We're taking initial steps to improve the bank's operational model, and we're responsibly stretching its balance sheet to deliver up to an additional $50 billion of lending over the next decade. This week, I look forward to discussing these important.
They're literally giving you the blueprint, family. They're giving us the blueprint. Pay attention. Pay attention, okay? As all this is going on, the Digital Currency Monetary Authority, DCMA, launches an International Central Bank Digital Currency, CBDC. Washington, April 10th. Today, International Monetary Fund Spring Meeting 2023, the Digital Currency Monetary Authority announced the official launch of the International Central Bank Digital Currency that strengthens the monetary sovereignty and participating central banks and complies with the recent crypto asset policies recommendations proposed by the IMF. As you guys argue about XRP and Bitcoin and all this stuff, they are literally changing your monetary system. They are literally launched. CBDCs are here. Rosie Rio said they are here. CBDCs are you are going to be operating on a CBDC. And you got Robert F. Kennedy. He's running for president. It says the claim that FedNow is not the first step towards a CBDC would be more easily digestible. We were not aware of Biden's administration steadily barraging the hostile broadsides against cryptocurrency. Between 2008 and 2022, I've been sharing with you guys, Fed partnered with a handful of big banks to print 10 trillion centuries of wealth and 15 years of bonanza for the banksters. Cryptocurrency like Bitcoin has given the public an escape route for the splatter zone when this bubble invariably burst. So the White House is concluding with banksters to keep us all trapped in a bubble, profiting on and controlled. In his February 8th post, Pirate Wire's Nick Carter describes how the White House has organized bankers participate in a sophisticated, widespread crackdown to destroy the crypto industry. Carter describes 15 incidents where President Biden has weaponized FDIC, OCC, DOJ to force crypto-friendly banks to close their doors to crypto firms since December 3rd. The recent crackdown on crypto block exit ramps removes all alternative rails and strengthens government control over both the financial and political systems. I've told you guys in previous videos what they're going to do is you can argue all day They're going to stop the off ramps. Coinbase is going to be a bank. Circle is going to be a bank. Kraken is going to be a bank. They're going to monopolize. It's going to be like JP Morgan, Wells Fargo, and bank. I'm telling you guys the game, man. I don't create the game. I just know the game. Circle, Kraken, Ripple is going to be a bank, in my opinion, okay? Coinbase, they're connected to BlackRock. Circle's connected to BlackRock. It's all an interconnected web. They're getting ready to reconstruct the financial system. That's going to be your on-ramp. That's going to be your off-ramp. They're going to have an account, a master account at the central bank. We should be wary since CBDCs are the ultimate mechanism for social surveillance and control. As Balazs Cervantes says, I can't pronounce that, the distinction between FedNow and CBDCs is important from a technical standpoint, but not from a civilian liberty standpoint. Balazs compares FedNow services, a virus that has evolved, evading recognition by changing its sequence without really changing its function. And we continue on. If you look at here, the C word drives global surge and use of digital payments. Remember, Rosie Rio said you need a shock to the system. And as we sit back and argue back and forth, Ripple, Montenegro, we know this was something in the works, signs deal on project for unspecified national digital currency. It's here, Warriors. The transition is here. We can argue all day. We can go back and forth. We can bitch and complain on Twitter. But the fact is, all of us are guessing. Every single one of us is guessing. There is no influencer, no creator that has, doesn't matter. I have 1.6 million followers worldwide. It doesn't matter. I am guessing just like everybody else, but I'm making an educated guess, being an intelligent investor. There is no get rich quick. And the truth is, most people are going to get wrecked next year because you're going to get greedy. You're going to get caught in between excitement and euphoria. And as you get to euphoria and you think you're going to keep profiting and you're not going to have an investment strategy, not a get rich quick, you're going to come sliding down the back end. Number one, you need an exit strategy. Number two, you need to understand the 5 pillars of wealth. And number three, you need to get your shit together mentally. There is no invisible enemy. There's no reason to protest. There's no reason to go after anybody. What you need to do is understand who you want to be, create the plan, and stick to it. That's why I created my 120-day challenge. Over 6,000 people worldwide since 2020 have gotten their shit together. It's step by step, day by day, subconscious mind programming, goal setting, vision board creation, creating a budget, understanding the 5 pillars of wealth, understanding there is no get rich quick. It's getting wealthy for sure by changing this and understanding who you truly are. So after this video, in the description down below, you can join the Warrior Academy 7 days for free in 2023. I expect to see you inside. Warriors, rise, get your shit together. Let's go.
System is designed to keep you trapped. 2017, I walked out of a high-paid vice president job because I was absolutely miserable. Working 16 to 19 hours a day because that's what the system taught me to do. And what I discovered through countless hours of meditation, research, reading books, understanding how the millionaires and billionaires operate, the system is designed to keep you trapped. Today, I own multiple companies. I travel all over the world. I'm financially free, and that's exactly why I created this community of like-minded warriors coming together called the 3T Warrior Academy. Now, I don't say this to brag. I'm sharing this with you to show you what's possible for you. Whether you're just starting out or you're looking to take your life to another level, we believe the Warrior Academy has something for everybody. Processes that take you step by step through disciplined, consistent activities, and that's exactly what you're going to get. Our 120-day challenge, all you have to do is open up the app and take it day by day. We're going to take you through the disciplined, consistent activities to take your life to the next level. Within 1 week, you're going to feel a difference. Within a month, people are going to notice a change in you. That's how powerful this 120-day challenge is. So if you're truly ready to break free from the old paradigm into a new paradigm of discipline, consistency, great relationship with your family, financial freedom, and learning the pillars of wealth that'll change your life and generational wealth to come, I'm going to invite you to do our program for 7 days for free. The 120-day challenge has changed over 5,000 warriors' lives worldwide, and we hope to be yours next.
Warriors, get your together. Let's go.